here every Tuesday and Friday on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you get it from. I'm Nico and DAD. I'm joined by Dan Layton, the truth, the Professor Dan Layton. You were here on the Tuesday show. I was on Raw, and people were very thrilled that we went about 20 minutes over. And, we had a nice extended overrun from the usual podcast length.
We just like to natter.
We do like to natter, yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a tangent, Ollie.
I don't either. And we were supposed to have started this episode much earlier.
Oh, yeah.
A peek behind the curtain here. But we spoke about half an hour about last night's episode of the Traitors, which delayed us in recording, and I finished my cup of coffee, and we're like, we probably should do this wrestling podcast. And then we just recorded for about an hour, and turns out, everyone, I forgot to turn the mic desk on. So there was absolutely no audio in it whatsoever. So we've actually been chatting, you and I, talk about an overrun. An hour and a half you and I have been going for.
I went away for a year, all right? We've got stuff to catch up on. You know, it's important.
Could not believe it.
No, I've had a great time.
I mean, and me too. It was a delightful chat. We're gonna have it again now.
I was gonna say, and because we've done it once already, maybe I'll truncate it. I'll be less than an hour.
There'll be less tangents on it. You can also get this podcast by the medium of QR codes, of course.
Yeah,
we got this one from Greg Taylor. He said, decided to stop at an all-night diner for some dessert. The menu showed pictures of all kinds of homemade pies, lemon meringue, apple, cherry, but halfway down the page, beside the pie labelled Humble, was a QR code that linked to a video montage of Luke's prediction for the Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre title match on SmackDown. I ended up going for pumpkin, obviously. I
stopped listening to you because I started thinking about pie.
Like The Rock.
I love, quite. All types of pie.
Yes, I am all full of humble pie and crow and all of these things that I have eaten. I've eaten shoes of all these. I've eaten hats.
What are you talking about? Oh, like hats, I understand.
Yeah, but I'll eat my shoes.
What? Nobody says that.
Yes, they do. I'm pretty sure that's a
I've
phrase.
heard of people eating hats. I've heard of people eating shorts. Who's eating a shoe?
Who's eating a shoe, honestly? Yeah. But yeah, I was very wrong. I was on many a video saying that, look, Cody Rhodes is going to retain this title all the way through to WrestleMania. That's quite clear. That's clearly the direction they're going with. And I was very wrong on that one. And it's okay to be wrong, by the way. Like I think some people get very...
I wouldn't know. No, but what's really interesting, though, and it's what's going to tie us into our little opening segment here, though, is that, like, there was a reason you thought that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They've been telling the story on TV.
And, the plans that have been in place and what we've seen over the past year or whatever, you're quite justified in thinking, like, we probably won't win. That's what I thought going into it.
Yeah. So, like, the story on TV was, leading into the Survivor Series, Roman Reigns said, I'm coming for one of your titles, Punk and or Cody. And, like, Punk's like, which one are you talking to? Who are you talking to? And then at Survivor Series, he shakes Punk's hand, he looks at Cody, looks at that title, and gives the little nod. That's the belt I'm coming for. So that's they said at Survivor Series. Then all the reports came out. Yeah, it's Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania 42. There's a change that Roman had asked for. That's why we're going in this direction now, and that's the plan for WrestleMania 40.
What was the little quote that you had?
I will get to that shortly. So we'll go back into time to like where WrestleMania plans started after last year's WrestleMania, then what they became in the summer when Roman made his changes, and now where we might be heading as we look towards 4 months away from WrestleMania. So yeah, I really did think there's no way that Cody's dropping this title before WrestleMania, and so glad to have been wrong, because it's thrown this grenade into the creative process and into the fandom to be like, well, now what for WrestleMania?
Yeah, completely. Because we're getting a lot of behind the scenes access to the creative process, which for me, and we'll talk about this next week, I love.
Because Unreal's that. The reason why Dan said this, we're going to do Unreal coverage next week.
I'm a nerd for the process. It's what I love about the creative arts. Like, I love making, I love writing and being in the room. When I was a kid, I'll save it for next week. But like, so we've seen loads of it, and we got the documentary, the behind the scenes of WrestleMania 40, where Triple H says explicitly, "I like to have my WrestleMania card in place by October," and that is perfectly admirable. I think, you know, we how many years did we have? Are you winging it? Do you remember you booked that match last week? Like, what is it? The reason you would have something in place is so that you can work backwards and go, okay, how do we get there? Like, what are the seeds that I plan to blossom into what you're going to get? And the reason you do that is because as a fan, you feel rewarded for noticing, for following the storyline. It feels like a good conclusion. It's why people don't like the end series of Game of Thrones.
I was going to say the exact same thing, and Stranger Things, funny enough, recently.
Yes, which I haven't watched, and so it's been interesting for me as a non-Stranger Things fan to see people's reactions to this final series, because it seems to me that it's yet another legacy show that's shat the bed.
Exactly, yeah, of a show that in its final season, if it pivoted what feels like a great deal, and people were like, that you'd planted seeds and you're not paying off on any of those seeds that you planted. It feels like you're making stuff as you go along.
And we like to see them. We like to see it. It's a reward,
because people like pour over these sorts of things. Like, because they did this documentary out on Netflix about like the final season, and like a friend of mine texted me being like, "I'm watching this, waiting for it to become the secret 9th episode that I've fallen into the conspiracy theory rabbit hole of believing." And there's a bit within the documentary where they show one of the Duffer Brothers screens, and there's a Reddit tab opens of them looking at Stranger Things predictions. And everyone was like, "Look at these idiots!" And it's like what happened with Game of Thrones. They changed the finish of Game of Thrones because one of them saw that someone guessed it on Reddit. So they went in a completely different direction.
Which goes so crucially against George R.R. Martin's outlook. And I have said this a bajillion times on this podcast. If you tell me that the Chambermaid did it for 7 books, and then you change your mind at the last minute because you know I figured it out, and you tell me the butler did it, I'm going to be really cross at you.
Yeah, because that's not a rewarding experience.
It's not a rewarding experience.